Oh Lord, he comin'. It is time to do the review of the chunkiest of the Liger Zero upgrade kits, which is the Panzer armor. So I did the review of the base stock Liger Zero as well as the Jaeger cast kit. I do not have the Schneider one, although they did announce a Markings Plus version as the complete kit and as the standalone cast armor customized parts kit. So I will be purchasing that pretty soon. So hopefully somewhere early next year that'll come out. So we'll have a Schneider review eventually. But here we have the Panzer review. So the third and final of the armor upgrades to be featured for the Liger Zero in terms of the canon battle story and the New Century Zero anime. Although other ones like the Liger Zero X and Liger Zero Phoenix exist. They just exist in technically different continuities. The Liger Zero X being a completely separate thing from the mainline Liger Zero and all the customized armor set upgrade things. So yeah, so the Panzer armor. So this one's probably my favorite in terms of aesthetic and in terms of the functionality in the video games, in the Zoids versus games, mainly because, as I've said so many times before, in those games, the key is powerful and accurate ranged weapons. And so the Jaeger, as I mentioned before, focuses on speed. The Schneider focuses on strong melee attacks, and the Panzer focuses on armor and powerful ranged weapons. So in the interest of practicality in the Zoids versus games, the Panzer is always going to be the most practical, although the Schneider does have some pretty good uses. The Jaeger is just fast, and then other than that, it's pretty much useless because it doesn't have any good weapons that it can equip. So the word Panzer in German just means armor, essentially. So that's why a lot of their tanks and anti-tank weapons had the word Panzer in the name somewhere. So I mentioned Jaeger means hunter, Schneider means tailor or to cut more specifically, and then Panzer means armor. So this cast system was made again to be heavily armored and feature some incredibly powerful ranged weapons. So in the battle story, though, the Panzer could actually still move at a pretty respectable speed, but in the anime, when they deploy this thing, they sort of deploy it as a last resort because they know that it's not going to be practical. What I mean by that is that the Liger Zero attempted to equip this thing, and it was so heavy that it overheated the motors in the legs and all the servos and everything, and it couldn't even move with this armor on it. It was so heavy. So it managed to use the powerful hybrid cannons for some uses, and then it had to ditch the armor and continue the battle without it. It was deployed against the Elefander, which, as I mentioned before, they had an incredibly difficult time with. I think I mistakenly said that the Schneider was able to cut off the trunk of the Elefander, when in reality I think it actually actually broke the blade off of the Schneider. And so when they resorted to the Panzer was able to actually break through the energy shield of the Elefander using the powerful hybrid cannons, which is not surprising at all. But then they tried to use it again in the final battle against the Berserk Fury, and again that was ineffective because the other two cast systems were damaged at that time and were unavailable. And so they went with the Panzer as a last resort. Again, they got off a good shot with the hybrid cannons and used a missile barrage to destroy a Dark Judge, I think, and that was about it. He had to continue the final battle against the Berserk Fury using the standard Liger Zero armor, which I guess was interesting and kind of poetic for the series finale, but the Panzer really got the shaft in the anime in that regard, whereas in the battle story, it's kind of a lot more well-respected and a lot more well utilized and implemented. But I just think this thing looks really cool. It is very much aesthetically designed after a sort of modern history military tank in terms of the colors, the different types of greens, and some of the patterning on here. Like, I don't know if you can see the little cross pattern here is very, very reminiscent of something you would see on a World War II or Vietnam era military vehicle. And so I think that the aesthetic they were going for is really cool here. So in terms of weapons they've replaced the underbarrel shock cannon with this missile cannon here. They have added, instead of the stabilizers on the side or the little booster things that the Jaeger had, they've added, I don't know if I can actually get this thing to drop down. Oh yeah, here we go. More missiles right there. I think this panel right here opens up to reveal more missiles. This one reveals more missiles. This thing pops out sideways. Now hopefully I can do all of this without having any of this stuff pop off, because this is a high-end master model kit, so hopefully we won't have parts all over the ground here. I also did not build this, and we'll tell the story about that, but yeah, more missiles there, more missiles here. Like, there's just missiles absolutely all over this thing. And so that's the elephant in the room, essentially. And the hybrid cannons are, there's a degree of articulation there, I think, side to side. They're actually pretty stable for how big they are. And I love the level of detail on the model kit here itself, with the barrels and the little translucent pieces there, the radar dish on the back. Looks really cool. Now the tail I have flipped up so that it can fit in my display case better, but the tail is highly articulated on the HMM Liger Zero, and it does have a couple of little guns on the tail, as well as, you guessed it, more missiles. Big surprise. Oh, guess what? Guess what back here, guys? Guess what? Oh, is that more missiles? Oh my god, I never would have guessed. What about over here? Is that, oh my god, it's more missiles too. Oh my god, this thing is just full of surprises. How original. Another thing it has as well, which I struggled to figure out how to put together in this thing when I was adding the armor pieces to the base Liger Zero, was these, whoops, tail just fell off, but we'll fix that later. These stabilizers, these grounding gear for the hybrid cannons, they act as stabilizers so the thing doesn't fall over when it attempts to fire. We'll just go ahead and plug that thing back in there. So, in terms of the model kits, again, this is the high-end master model Panzer. There was, of course, a cast armor upgrade kit available for the regular motorized Liger Zero, which you could find under the Hasbro line and the Japanese Takara Tomy line, the 1999 line. I think as far as the Kotobukiya HMM one, there has been a version sold, like I said, where it's the complete in package, like the Liger Zero and the Panzer armor, to make this kit. But how I got this, I've told this story in other videos, but I got lucky and just wandered into Second and Charles one day, and someone had turned in a built HMM Liger Zero with the Jaeger and the Panzer kits separately, so I bought all of them. And that's how I have this kit. So I didn't actually build the HMM Liger Zero from scratch, so I can't speak to its build complexity all that much, unfortunately. I'd like to be able to. Of course, the cockpit lifts up to reveal an actual bit figure in there, which is pretty cool. And but hopefully when the pre-orders are up for the HMM Empire Liger Zero Markings Plus version, I will order that, and we'll be able to speak to the actual build complexity of the HMM Liger Zero a little bit more. Again, this is my favorite one. I had the model displayed as the regular stock base Liger Zero for several months until I did the Jaeger review, and I only had the Jaeger armor on there for a short amount of time. As cool as the Jaeger looks, I wanted to go ahead and put that one away so I could have this on here, and then this has been on here ever since, waiting to do this review, and I gotta say, it's definitely my favorite. I'm really, really impressed with how stable this thing is with all this extra weight on it. Now, I really do worry about the waist articulation, because when I lift this thing up, much like a real cat, it goes limp in the center and it just kind of folds upon itself. So I usually try to pick up a Zoid with my hand underneath of it like that and lift up the whole thing. But when I do that with the HMM Liger Zero, the ball joint in the very at the hips tends to bend, and I'm sure that's amplified way more so with the Panzer armor equipped here because it's so much heavier. But even with the base armor on it, tended to do that. The sheer size and mass that this thing adds to it, I was actually quite surprised that it fit inside of the glass display case in the spot that the standard Liger Zero HMM previously occupied, because it's sitting there next to the tiny little Wild Liger, and it's just like crowding it in the corner, the poor little thing. So yeah, this armor does add a huge amount of size to it. I don't think these don't flip up to reveal any missiles, but I'm pretty sure this panel does, and I want to be very careful with this. We're going to manhandle it a little bit here, and I may regret this. You guys can't see anything because my hand is in the way. I'm like 99% sure more missiles are behind this panel. We may just take off the, yeah, we're gonna take off the actual shoulder thing here. That is one of the very nice things about the HMM Liger Zero, is you can kind of tell how the base kit was designed around having the customized parts be added onto it. Yeah, so the way this thing works on this piece is it just kind of folds out like that. I don't know if that's to reveal more missiles or if that's supposed to be a heat vent. That's probably supposed to be a heat vent or something. Let the exhaust out. It's been a long time since I've seen any of the episodes of the anime where the Panzer makes an appearance. Overall, fantastic kit. Couldn't recommend it enough. Definitely recommend you guys getting your hands on it. And because of the popularity of the Liger Zero, as I've mentioned many times in previous videos, they continue to reissue this thing almost every year. So it's pretty common, pretty easy to get your hands on it. You may be even able to get one of the older printings currently in stock on Amazon JP or even HLJ or something like that. You never know. So take a look out there for it. I'm sure it's available. It's pretty. All the HMM Liger Zero kits are very common, but this thing is due for another reissue next year. So if you don't want to pay whatever the current prices are, or if you have a base Liger Zero HMM and you just want the armor for it, pre-orders for the cast system Markings Plus versions are available on HLJ right now. So you can order the Jaeger, Schneider, and Panzer right now if you choose to, which I highly recommend. That's probably what I'll be doing for the Schneider. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep this guy displayed as he is. Maybe I'll decide to downgrade to the base armor again and put this one away. But we are slated to get the Liger Zero X sometime next year, and the Liger Zero Empire Markings Plus version was announced, and that's going to be a tie-in to the Liger Zero X kit as well. So that's really all I have to say about this guy, unfortunately. I feel like I should have a lot more to say about it, but I pretty much covered everything. Again, it's the one that I actually like to use in Zoids versus 2 and 3 because the hybrid cannons are just so powerful, and they can definitely put even something like the Berserk Fury in its place. They rival the power of the Buster Eagle cannon, but maybe not quite as versatile as that. Obviously, missiles not being very good in Zoids versus 2 means that most of this Zoids weapons are not super practical, but it's a lot better in Zoids versus 3 because of the enhancements they made to missiles and other homing projectiles. So that's what I have to say for this one. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Do you guys miss the gaming content I used to do on this channel? Did you guys know this is actually my second channel? My wife Michelle and I over on the primary Star-Crossed Souls channel do gaming content as well as content about conventions and cosplay and some of the niche fandoms we're into such as Fire Emblem, Fate, and Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm also doing a retrospective series on the entire Type Moon series and all of the Fate works. It's a series I'm very proud of and has the highest amount of editing and production quality in anything I've ever done in my entire career of making videos. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, make sure to follow us on the main Star-Crossed Souls channel and follow Michelle and I on Instagram for her art projects and my cosplay projects. I'll see you guys next time.